Come on, Dutch. We gotta throw the ninja stars.
That is how he
Do
sounds.
a wall run, Dutch.
Oh my God. Those men are not healthy.
How am I supposed to wield this dragon sword, Dutch?
Hey,
Yo,
what's up?
I'm wearing a beanie for the podcast today, so I got beanie energy.
Yeah, you got beanie energy today. That's fun.
Beam me up, Scotty.
I am bringing big nap, post big nap energy today.
You took a big nap?
I took a big nap. Yeah.
Whoa! How long? How big of a nap?
It was feature length. It was 90 minutes.
Feature length. Okay,
Yeah.
so like an animated kids movie feature. Yeah.
Yeah, or just the lowest amount of length that you could watch a film and have it not be called a short film. You know?
Oh, is that what that means?
I don't know if it's exactly that, but that's kind of my barrier.
90 minutes. Gotcha.
Yeah, like is that a movie or not, or is this a short film?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
An interesting feeling because like I will say eepy beforehand, like deeply eepy.
EP day.
And was like I really need one of these and was fully intending to do just like a quick, efficient, utilitarian 30-minute, and that stretched right out into an hour and a half.
I can never do just like the 20-minute power nap that everybody claims is like the ideal. I'm like I am asleep. At least for an hour.
I've been known to dabble. Every now and then I'll hit a clean 20 and be like, that was perfect. But I think that has to be when I'm not like I didn't sleep like shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sleep well last night. And so it's like, I need to like recoup a little bit.
Gotcha.
Real quick, it's Video Game Podtimism, the optimist video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming. My name is Chase.
And my name is David.
And so the energy I'm bringing is kind of post, like this is the second day of my Wednesday, you know?
Oh, sure. It's your second, your Thwurmsday.
This is my Twensday. Yeah. Or Thwurmsday.
Thwurmsday?
That was an attempt at Wednesday and Thursday, but Thwurmsday.
Thwurms 3 Total War.
Yeah, Thwurmsday is compelling. I'm kind of stuck on Thwurmsday. That feels like
It reminds me of Slurm from Futurama.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's the Pepsi to Slurm's Coke.
Yeah, it's great value Slurm. Thwurmsday.
Kirkland brand Slurm.
It sort of feels like a fun, like kitschy Thursday on Dune or something, you know, like Thwurmsday. Like, oh, it's almost Thwurmsday. Can't wait to go out and drink on the worm, you know.
I could see it being like used in some sort of flashback or flash forward where everything is normal, but then people just start saying the word thwurm.
Yeah, sure.
And you're just like, what the fuck is going on? It just
what
makes
is the
it kind
context
of creepy.
here?
Yeah.
That was quite a vision you had. That's so far away from where I was going.
Don't you want to go to the Thwurm today? The what? The Thwurm.
The what? You know, the Thwurm.
Mm-hmm. One of those like psychological bizarro thrillers or something like that. What is Thwurm?
What dance move do you think doing the Thwurm is?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, it could just be doing the worm vertically.
It's just sort of wiggling in the air.
But like jumping and like trying to do the worm vertically.
Oh, yeah, sure. So like an acrobatic worm.
Yeah, that's kind of my first thought.
Yeah. I like the midair worm, the Thwurm.
Mm-hmm, the Thwurm. Or doing the worm with your thumbs.
Okay. It sort of requires more than the number of joints I've got in my thumb.
Absolutely. It makes no sense.
Or at least a double jointed. I'm a single jointed thumb guy. Can't do the hitchhiker's thumb, which I'm pretty sure you can.
I can. Hypermobility is
really
what
freaks
I got there.
me out. Really freaks me out. No way.
It's not good. It's not a good thing to have.
Yeah. Video games, David.
We don't want to talk about more ligament disorders?
Yeah, what sort of thumb problems do you got? What's on your mind with your thumb or your Thwurm?
My Thwurm.
Your Thwurm.
Well, I Thwurmed harder than I ever had before today. A PR, personal record.
Personal Thwurm record.
15 oscillations in 11 seconds.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Yeah, right?
Congratulations on your Thwurm.
See, the trick to hitting a good Thwurm is to really grease it up with some gravy beforehand.
We're back on the gravy thing.
This is why you can't Thwurm well, Chase. Your aversion to gravy is keeping you from Thwurming to your full potential.
I can't. I'm just not comfortable sliding through the gravy hard enough to do the Thwurm.
Yeah.
None of that made sense.
Chase isn't ready to put it all on the line for the Thwurm.
I feel like communication is breaking down right now. Like a linguist is like, there's like no conversation happening in this structure. Have you been playing video games, David?
I have been playing video games.
What do you got? Well, tell me about them.
I have been mostly playing Metaphor Refantazio.
Yeah, where are you at right now? Without totally spoiling it.
Yeah, I'm getting close to the end. I'm back in the castle.
Okay, yeah.
I'm back in the castle. I'm pretty sure this is like the last bit of the game, unless they really do something out of left field.
Yeah.
But real quick, spoiler for Metaphor, for anybody listening. Sure. Give you a second to pause or skip.
I'll play the Wii Shop music. Greetings, Earthlings. Hey, both David and I are about to participate in a pretty hearty spoiling of Metaphor. Not necessarily the end, but a lot of the game. I would say this is not the normal, like, a little couple of side quests get spoiled. I'm talking like big stuff, you know? Cool stuff. And I like the beats in this game. So, be careful. Spoilers beware. I think we'll probably be done with it at about the 16-minute mark if you want to jump over there. Of course, I've got chapter markers, so, you can use that as well. It's not amateur hour out here. Anyway, I hope that you have a good day and that you either do listen to these spoilers or you don't. And you listen to, I think David talks about Cat Quest in a little while here. And I talk about Arco, if I remember correctly. So, yeah. All right. Have a good one. Talk to you later. Love you. Take care. Bye. See ya. Farewell. Au revoir.
I am just going to toot my own horn that I called one of those Magnus brothers being the last person in your party. I really did.
Yeah,
I was one of them's going to die and the other one's going to be in my party.
Yeah.
So just saying, I nailed that. I nailed that one. I'm on it. So that's fun. But I love Basilio. He's great.
He is very good. Yeah.
I love his voice lines. Oh, what does he say? Something when you choose the Berserker archetype for him, he says something like, "Oh, being careful in a battle, not bloody likely." It's just like, oh my God, this guy is ready to go. There's a vibe about Basilio that I just really enjoy.
I love it when he's in battle and his voice cracks when he gets really pissed off, which is very fun.
Yeah, it definitely gives away kind of like the childish nature of him as well, which is like, oh, this is great. Good character, Basilio. I also love his fit. His fit is like so like modernized 70s rocker.
Sure, yeah.
It's fucking sweet with the bell bottoms. Great look, Basilio. Some more spoilers, I guess. I love all of the dragon fights.
Yeah, they're all very good.
They're so good. Started off with Sogne when you fought Rella, which is a heartbreaking fight, by the way.
I know.
And all of the other ones since then, and including that one, have been such a fun like puzzle and like quiz that the game is positing to you about like, okay, you think you know your shit? Figure out how to beat this fucker, all right? And there's not a completely right answer. You can do it in a lot of different ways, but it's just fun to tool your team and tool your archetypes and your inherited skills and all of your equipment to try and create some unit that beats this monster, because those things will just take you out in a turn otherwise, and it's like it is brutal.
Are you doing the like optional big dragon towers that they have?
Yes,
there's like
I did all of them.
Yeah, sure.
And the bonus or the real final battle against yourself. Yeah. Oh, really?
God, there was one of those dragons that I stumbled into the dumbest solution for, where like there was some attack that one of them does that's like a devastating amount of fire damage, and there's also some move that reflects fire damage, and I managed to line those up at the right time and reflected like 9,000 damage back at him and insta-killed him.
Wow.
Which was so incredible.
That's awesome. What move repels fire magic?
I can't remember if it was like a move or an item or just like a passive or something, or it might have even been equipment, like a trinket or something.
Because that does 9,999 damage. That was ridiculous.
It one-shotted him. Yeah, like it turned around and killed him immediately. Love it. So incredible. Yeah.
Get wrecked. Devourer of stars. Is that what it was?
Yeah, something like that.
Devourer of flame, something. I'd love the little monologue the last dragon, who looks like the protagonist, goes on about how humanity no longer fears Mother Nature, but they fear their anxieties and it's just like their primordial fears now, and like the miasma of the world and everything like that. Oh, so good. I know the game really is just a metaphor for our current situation right now, but I just thought that was still great.
You say this game is a metaphor?
Sure, I sure did.
It's a little bit like a metaphor?
I sure is. Yeah. Yeah, that says it right on the cover of the box.
tin, yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, it's very on the nose. More like it's beating you over the head with it. But sometimes a message needs to be explicit because people need to hear it. It's really what it comes down to. But yeah, that last battle was really good. And I just loved their little stance on misinformation, fear mongering, how it's just so easy to spread it through our information age that we live in nowadays. Really good. Really good stuff. But before I did that fight, what was really fun was that I essentially turned Metaphor into a Musou game, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
Because you fight that guy in the Dragon Temple, and I felt pretty underleveled. I had been underleveled for a while.
I was too. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to stumble around the Dragon Temple and see what's good. And right at the very top of the entrance to like the Dragon Altar, there are 2 Melancholia crystals right there. And I was strong enough to not have to like go into the squad battle to kill these monsters. So I was just spent probably like an hour just farming mag and money and XP, and unlocked like 3 or 4 royal archetypes doing that.
Amazing.
Which was excellent. And I don't know if I probably wouldn't have beaten this last boss without that Musou experience bump that I had.
Yeah.
But it really was a Musou experience. Just hordes of enemies coming at me. I'm usually like 1 or 2 hits and they're gone. And they were consistently coming out, which was great. Just feeding me experience points. That was fun.
There was some dungeon, I don't remember which one exactly, but there was like a bunch of mimics in the bottom of it that like somebody, I had read somewhere, like if you get high enough level, or no, you still have to be low enough level that you can engage in combat with them. But if you equip Hayabusa's like steal ability onto your main character, that sometimes you'll just hit them and it'll give you like one of those gigantic is it the Magla crystals? It's the ones that like you can use on a person. It'll upgrade their archetype a bunch of times.
Oh, the jeweled heroes root or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the one that I think gives 3,000. Yeah. And at the bottom of one of these dungeons, I just sort of sat there and hit these dudes for, again, probably an hour or so, would engage in combat and then immediately run away so that they're like, they don't die, and then just like continually did this over and over and over again.
There you go.
And I think got up to like 99 of those things so that I was just like, whoever like needed to get upgrade could just be strapped.
Beautiful.
Because those royal archetypes are so useful.
They're so strong and they're so cool. They're so fun.
I know. Yeah, they look great.
But yeah, I'm still really loving this game. It feels like it's sticking the landing both gameplay wise and narratively, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, I will probably be beating it before the next time we talk. Probably tonight.
I think so. To be honest, you're not that far. Yeah.
No, I am not. I'm already kind of deep into the castle. So
there's a little more. There's like a touch more after the castle. Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what's going on. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, where this goes.
Yeah.
How it ends. So yeah, I really think that this was a proper game of the year for me, because I don't think I've ever played a JRPG to completion that's been this long. I'm almost like 100 hours in, I think.
Yeah.
But fun all the way through. Never lulled. Great game.
Yeah, the pace is unbelievable, because at no point did I ever feel like this is kind of annoying, or like I don't really care about this like bit. I think like Atlas games are so smart to break up their narrative into these like arcs, and each of the arcs are like so compelling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, even, you know, the kind of like romancing saga stuff. I really like it, but it is a game that sort of, it feels like the whole thing is one big arc, and that can be cool, but there's also times where it's like, I don't really care about this little plot that we're in right now, you know? And I think that's way more common of an experience than like centering one little bit around like, okay, here's probably the character you're going to get. Here's their like essentially the antithesis of them usually, of like, here's this other character that they're supposed to kind of play against. You know, in the beginning it's Hayabusa and like the like Baroness or whatever of that town. And then you just kind of explore those people for a while and like see what's going on with them, and the plot kind of unravels and all that sort of stuff. And it's just, that stuff just never gets boring for me. Like I'm always interested in like what's happening there, and they just keep doing that. And then 100 hours pass.
It's a very nice narrative loop that they've created. And I think it only really works well because they write and create a lot of really interesting characters, and they just have it down pat on how these people, how to make it a believable interaction between all of these characters. characters and who they are established as being. Their characterization and their ability to have people play off of each other and grow from each other and learn from each other and have conflict with each other is really good. Really good. And I think
it wouldn't
that
be
is a secret sauce, it feels like.
Yes. It wouldn't be a good story if the characters were bad, you know?
Yeah. And I think no more could that be true than for Luis. He is such a good villain.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very good.
He is such a good villain because, man, is he an asshole and just like so wrong. But there is such a tender heart underneath there you can kind of see that has just been twisted by experiences to be bad.
He's like callous and calculated in a way that seems very inhuman, but the baseline decision making, I'm like, yeah, I mean, like you and the prince and Luis are like motivated by very similar things.
You're kind of trying to get to the same end, but with different means.
Yeah. Although it seems like Luis is kind of, his ends might be a little bit fucked up too.
That's true. Yeah. But it's just he's a really interesting villain because there is a moments where you're like, I can kind of see where you're coming from, and also I can kind of see now why you are this way you are when certain things are revealed. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how it goes when at the end how I feel about him. But right now, interested. Good character.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Also been playing Cat Quest. Still.
Cat Quest 2.
Cat Quest 2. Yeah. Almost done. I think we're like at the last bit. It's a pretty short game, but still just fun, beautiful, great world to go around in, fun dungeons, and it's all killer, no filler. It really has not lulled. There's not like a lot of bloat in this game. Mm-hmm. It's just co-op fun. So if you like playing co-op games, you like RPGs and action RPGs, this is a really good one. I would highly recommend it. It's great.
Sure. Yeah.
I also been playing UFO 50 and specifically Campanella.
Which one is this again?
This is the one where you're like a little spaceship trying to get through these little mazes, essentially.
Yes. Yep.
I am obsessed with this game right now. It reminds me of that like lunar lander game.
Yes.
That was like pre-installed on our MacBooks, not MacBooks, but just like Macintosh computers. In elementary school. And there is just something very satisfying to my brain about the physics of it all. Mm-hmm. When I thread the needle through somewhere very tight in a very smooth way, I feel so accomplished and proud of myself. And Mallory was watching me play this game and she said, wow, that was a really good job. And I said, that was a really good job. Thank you for validating everything about me, fiance. Felt really good.
That is not a nectar that I have tasted, my friend. I don't think I've ever been sitting in the living room and Emma's like, damn, that was pretty fucking cool. It is always, oh, you died.
Really?
Oh, yeah, very consistently.
I mean, yeah, when I die, Mallory doesn't even comment when I die, which is kind of even worse because I know she saw, especially with like a Dark Souls type game. And she's just like, her silence is deafening. And I'm just like, no, you saw that. I know you saw me fuck up again. But yeah, I guess we all have our different interactions is what it comes down to, our different relations. I think so. But that game is really fun. I really enjoy it. It is addicting. And I think that is what's so great about UFO 50 is that you're just like, you're going through. This one is not for me. This one's not for me. And then you find when you're just like, oh my God, it just clicks just pushes all of the right little dopamine buttons in your brain. You're like, okay, this is what I'm doing for the next couple hours. Cool. Great. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, still a very fun game. And Magic Garden is also still my jam. Still a great game. Yeah. And I've also been playing the Indiana Jones game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Still playing that a little bit.
Did you had started this, right?
I had started this. It is a game that I am very interested in and I want to play it a lot more. It's just Metaphor is taking up all of my time right now.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think that I have a feeling that once I beat Metaphor, I'm just going to dive headfirst into this one because, man, the sense of adventure in this game is just next level. It really, there is just something very kind of like naive and sweet about the adventuring in this game. It's just very pure, right? Where, you're reading Latin on these pictures you took through a magnifying glass and you and the cardinal that you're deciphering them with all of a sudden look up at each other and say the same thing like, oh yeah, the Tower of St. Francis, of course.
Yeah,
and then the music swells a little bit and you're just like, all right, fuck yeah, let's go. Tower of St. Francis, let's do it. It does a great job of investing you and getting you engaged in those moments of figuring something out, even though you weren't necessarily doing anything mechanically to do it, but it just is so engaging and well written. I said like sweet and pure in the way that it presents these discoveries and these adventures, right?
Yeah, it feels very Indiana Jones.
Feels very
too.
Indiana
Like,
Jones, right?
It's a swashbuckling adventure, but like also it's not hyper violent. It's not hyper realistic either.
No.
It's kind of just there for like fun, like almost cartoonish shit happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Like jumping across a chasm and getting across to the other side by whipping to a like pole or something, right?
Yeah.
Silly things. And two random things that I really love about this game. To get like your map marker up on the screen, you have to like actually Indiana Jones pulls out a map that he's holding in his hands, and you have to like look down at it, or you can press a button to make it come up a little bit. And when you do that, on the screen itself, it tells you where you're supposed to go for your current equipped mission. So Indiana Jones is like running around, right now I'm in the Vatican, with this like map, looking like a total tourist, just running around to all these places, which I think is just a very funny mental image of him doing that.
Yeah.
And then also the control scheme is, I wouldn't say bloated, but there's a lot of different things you can do. And after coming back from not playing it for a while, I just had no memory of what anything was keyed to. And so I got back in the game and I'm like, I wonder what this button does. And I immediately just whipped a fascist in the back, and then everybody came after me and I had to run away and hide. And I was like, that was fun. Yeah. It helped cure a little bit of my election anxiety too.
Sure. Yeah.
Which now I think it's just anxiety.
Yeah. No, it's just regular.
It's just regular anxiety now. And that was a funny and fun experience. Yeah, it was great. Have you played any of this game?
I have not. No, it's like kind of on my list right now, and I think it's the same feeling I had prior to playing Prey, where I was like, I bet I'm gonna like this, but I'm gonna like this a lot, and I just haven't done it. It's always like just signing up for an immersive sim is always kind of a lot, even though like I know this one's pretty light as far as like the complexity of an immersive sim goes. Yeah, but I will play it. Part of me wants to watch a couple of those movies prior to playing it too, just to kind of get in the mood. Sure, it's been a long time since I've seen like the good quote unquote Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, if the most recent Indiana Jones movies you've seen have been the last two, then you need to go back and watch some of the others.
Sure,
because they're a joy. My dad was big into Indiana Jones.
That checks out. That feels appropriate.
He's a big Jones head.
Yeah.
But that's all I've been playing. What have you been playing, Chase?
Video games, I think. Yeah, they got these interactive games that you can play on your TV. You use a controller, and it's like you press buttons, and then like an Italian on screen will move.
Ooh, an Italian pizza maker?
No, typically plumbers are the ones that they got.
Okay.
David, do you want, I got two games for you. Would you like Ninja Stars or Arrows?
Ooh, Ninja Stars.
Okay, cool. David, I've been playing Ninja Gaiden Black 2.
Ooh, yes. I downloaded that one. I'm stoked for this game, actually.
Yeah. So you had played one of the Ninja Gaidens. I think that was last year, but like...
I just played, I think, Ninja Gaiden Black last year. Pretty sure. Pretty recently.
It feels like last year, which might mean that it was like 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah, very, very true.
But you had played that and I was like, oh, me too. I would like to do that. And I also played through Ninja Gaiden 1 Black, which is like, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, like Ninja Gaiden came out a while ago, like the one on Xbox is the one we're referring to.
Yeah.
And then they re-released a kind of just like update of the game with like a little bit better graphics and like some updated shit called Ninja Gaiden Black. And they also released, I think it's just the PlayStation version, which is Ninja Gaiden Sigma as well, which, sorry, just the phrase Sigma is hard to say anymore.
I know it's a very different phrase or term than when they used it for that game. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think Black is pretty well regarded as like, that's the better version if you're going to play either of them. I think Sigma made a significant amount of changes to the game that some are good and some of the fans are like, why would you possibly do this?
Yeah. Controversial.
Yeah, exactly. Damn, was it episode 120 is what I'm pulling up right now for when we played Ninja Gaiden, which was an entire 120 episodes ago.
Was it really 2 years ago? ago when I played that?
I think that might be 3 years ago.
No. No. I had a lot of fun playing through Ninja Gaiden.
I did too. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a relic in a way because it was such a big deal at the time.
It was a watermark game.
Yeah. I think it was a pretty significant game when it came out. And I just remember people kind of going nuts for it, myself included. And it's sort of lost to time in a way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was July 31st of 2022 is when we were talking about Ninja Gaiden Sigma, David. That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Ay.
Got to update my life insurance policy.
Yeah, I think I need to invest in graves and stuff. So yes, just the versioning was a little bit different, but point being that Ninja Gaiden 2 came out, I think it was like 2007, 2006, something like that. And they also released a Sigma version of that, which came out, I think, in 2008. And again, similar kind of reaction where people are like, there's sort of baffling decisions made in how they translated this game over, where it's like some things are better, but some things are also like remarkably worse too. Mm-hmm. And I saw that, I think, last time we played these games, and I was like, I don't know if I necessarily want to like dive in there, because I was like, one was really good and I kind of don't need to like just keep going on this train. Mm-hmm. But last week, Xbox had a showcase where they announced Ninja Gaiden 4, but they also were like, hey, Ninja Gaiden Black 2 is out right now if you want to go play it.
I love it when companies do that. Just like, here,
shadow
it's here
dropping, now. It's so fucking good. I understand that there's times where you want to build hype and kind of get people aware of something. Mm-hmm. But I think specifically for Ninja Gaiden heads, like they're going to be there. If you just like shadow drop it, some people are going to be like, everybody who needs to know will know. It's got a following online for sure. Yeah. And like the people who are fans of it are very vocal fans of it. And so like, again, there's no way you don't find out about that if you're a fan of the series. Mm-hmm. So I was also like, well, I got to check this out. And I did. So far as I can tell, it combines a bunch of different things with like the base version of the game and also some of the changes from Sigma, like the boss battles being a little bit larger scale. Mm-hmm. One of the things that was mentioned, but some of the more strange decision making, I think that they reversed a little bit and just went back to the normal version. Mm-hmm. A very simple example is like, this game is very violent. Like the gore of it all is pretty consistent. And in a way to me that doesn't feel like gut churning. It's just sort of like,
it's Tarantino-y.
It's very silly. Yeah. It's very odd. And like, if that's not your jam, it's not your jam. But it doesn't really bother me. But in Sigma, they removed most of that to the point where it was just like kind of, it was just not nearly as violent. And like, I don't really care one way or another, but they added back in sort of the ridiculous amount of like dismemberment and bloody stuff going on in the game. Yeah. Which, they didn't really have a lot in the first one, but in the second one, it's like part of the game is sometimes enemies will like lose a limb and become quite a bit more dangerous to you because they're like ready to just like jump on you and attack you in a weird way. And so you have to, whenever you cut somebody's limb off, it's like, I have to kill them very soon or else they're going to like be a problem for me.
Gotcha.
I'm sort of getting ahead of myself. What is this video game? If somebody has not played Ninja Gaiden, it is I would say pretty quick, pretty fast paced 3D action game. And again, for anybody who wasn't around when these were releasing, I think it was sort of an interesting concept where in the early 2000s and in this era too, a lot of games were trying to figure out like, how do we transition from a lot of long running game series? We're trying to figure out how do we transition from 2D of the past to a new game, like a 3D game, right? Mario is kind of the first shot across the bow on N64 with everybody being like, all right, that's kind of the bar we need to achieve. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And Ninja Gaiden is interesting because like for my money, I don't love how Ninja Gaiden feels on NES. Like when I play it, I'm not a huge fan. It's very stiff and challenging.
Sure. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. And so like just this, for the game feel for me wasn't perfect.
You didn't like how it felt in your hand.
I didn't like the hand feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Too hard, too stiff.
But I think that they transitioned into a 3D game pretty well. Like that sort of game that it's largely action based and like, I wouldn't say hack and slash, but it occupies a similar genre to like Devil May Cry and like Bayonetta and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's remarkably harder than either of those games.
I was about to say, it shares a lot of DNA with those games, but if you go in just trying to hack and slash, you're going to get your ass handed to you. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's a much more difficult game. And I think when I was playing one, and even while I'm playing this one, my mind is just constantly seeing how this feels like a precursor to a lot of Souls games.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a lot of ways, but it's odd because no one mechanic to me feels like that's a Souls game. You know, like it's way faster than the combat in Souls games, other than like maybe Sekiro, but like even still, they're kind of focused on different things.
Yeah.
It's way more like twitchy. Like you have to like memorize combos a lot of the time. Yeah. As Ryu Hayabusa.
Great character.
Very fun. Just like such classic ninja shit. Like it's just straight down the middle. Like that's a ninja, man.
Pretty cool.
It feels great. But yeah, I think it's an interesting series to look at for a variety of reasons. But yeah, the connection to Souls and then just how they made the transition from like 2D to 3D is interesting to me. 2 specifically, or at least this version of 2, feels like a great follow-up to the Ninja Gaiden 1 Black as well. Feels very similar as far as like how it goes mechanically, how it feels. There's new things, but they don't feel out of place to me, especially having played it what feels like recently, but was nearly 3 years ago. And
God,
I know. And yeah, I'm having a great time with it. I think it's very cool. It's also one of the, speaking about the connections to Souls games, it's one of the earlier examples that I can remember in the more modern game space where people were talking about this game being hard but fair.
Yeah.
Which I don't think really like got a ton of acclaim until people were paying attention to Souls games. Like, you know, I think the average game player was not necessarily buying Ninja Gaiden at the time, or not like loving Ninja Gaiden. And so I think it was like a little bit more niche, despite the fact like it was very popular still.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to feel the differences between what felt fair then versus what feels fair now.
Sure.
You know, like there's plenty of times where I'm just getting like stun locked by enemies and I'm like, this is not great.
This isn't fair.
You know,
this is not fair.
No. And I think the FromSoft games make the great decision that like sometimes an unfair moment in a FromSoft game is kind of hilarious in a way.
Sure. Yeah.
Like they like punish you so much that like oftentimes you can avoid it if you're just being careful enough, you know, like when you're turning around a corner and you don't look the right direction and like a big boulder falls on you or something like that.
Someone pushes you off an edge.
Yes. Yeah. Like they train you to try and just avoid that kind of shit. And because Ninja Gaiden is so fast paced, it's very rare that I'm like, I feel like I have total control over the battlefield if I was just patient enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of chaotic in a way that like, that's the point, right? You're supposed to feel like you're just barely hanging on, but it is riding this line between barely hanging on and also trying to make you feel like the coolest ninja of all time. And that's a hard line to walk for sure. I think I wouldn't say easier, but it's different to try and make a Souls game where like they just are trying to push your patience and like memorization hard enough, you know, like can you just be so not greedy that you'll do one attack every 20 seconds until you beat this character, you know? Because Ninja Gaiden relies on kind of a similar thing of like, you need to be careful with your approach. You can't just go in and try and slash because they'll get you. But it is just faster paced inherently. And so there's a little bit more of like, I'm just kind of reacting in a way.
Yeah. They both teach you patience in very different ways.
Yeah.
You know, Miyazaki is like, you must learn temperance. Whereas Ninja Gaiden is more like, you just have to wait for like the one moment to like go in that's safe. And then you can do some crazy ninja shit. But yeah, I totally agree. It feels like Ninja Gaiden was a separate, you know, stem of the or separate branch of the tree of third person action games trying to challenge players more. Like Dark Souls went a different direction, Ninja Gaiden went this direction. And no other game has really kind of tried to riff off of the way that Ninja Gaiden was doing it, which is kind of a shame because it really is a lot different than the way that Dark Souls does it. Like I said, it's much more combo heavy, it's much more twitchy, but at the same time, it's a lot flashier and very fun in a different way, where it kind of takes you almost a second to process exactly what you just did. But then when you do, you're like, oh, fuck, that was cool. That was sweet what I just did. I get it. Yeah, you don't really get that feeling in a lot of Dark Souls games. At least I don't all the time.
Yeah.
I get more satisfaction of like overcoming a challenge in a Dark Souls game. Whereas in this one, I'm like, I beat that person. I looked fucking cool doing it.
Yeah. Weirdly, I feel like a lot of the more recent God of War games are closer than Dark Souls. Like,
sure, I see that.
To Ninja Gaiden and just like the speed of it. They're definitely slower, but I think the God of War games are asking you definitely to be patient with the enemies that you're fighting, but it is faster, right? Like there's a little bit more just like reaction that you have to learn in those games, but not nearly to the extent of like Ryu can do everything, you know, like if you jump at a wall, he runs up the wall and then jumps off it and you can do like a big attack from there. Or if you jump at someone and press Y, it does the like flying swallow attack where you like try to behead them, you know, like, which is such a useful move in this game just to like get out of the way sometimes of like if you're surrounded by guys. So yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I can't say it's perfect because like there are plenty of times where it's just like I'm just being bombarded with explosive shuriken right now and like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Other than just try and like spam jump to get out of here. Like I don't, on the outside of like cheesing these enemies or very specific patterns, like I doubt that there's a very straightforward way to play Ninja Gaiden and do like a no hit run, you know? I'm sure those are out there. I'm sure people do them, but like with Dark Souls, it's like a lot of like a no hit run oftentimes does not come down to luck, you know? Sometimes there are moments where you have to just hope you get a good roll and they don't do a certain attack, but like you can do them, you know, like it's possible to not get hit in a Dark Souls game if you're just like patient.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't really think that's the case in Ninja Gaiden. So like there's a little bit of some early gamer rage that will come up every now and then where I'm just like, why did I lose so much health there? Like that felt a little silly. But even still, the combat is very, very fun most of the time.
Yeah.
Very visceral. It's very cool. It's like close to a fighting game at times because the combos are so long.
Yeah.
But whenever you pull one off, it's just incredible. The boss fights too are just like very wild and fun. Pretty incredible character stuff. Also, I haven't even really mentioned the tone of it, but like I love the like hyper futuristic like city stuff that they have in these games combined with like Ryu is just wielding a sword, you know, like
then there's bazookas and
like, there's bazookas and like guns and shit.
Yeah. Tanks.
Yeah. And so I really, really like that in a way where it feels like there is this kind of futuristic world, but like Ryu lives outside of that in a way. I just think the simplicity of his design on that backdrop oftentimes just really works for me. And I love in the first one that you can't really tell like what time period it's in until you go to one of these cities and you're like, oh, this is what this game is.
Yeah. That's kind of like a soft reveal in the game. We're like, why am I on a blimp now? And why is this person shooting electricity at me?
Yeah. In this one, it's right up front. You're like in Tokyo immediately. And it's like very futuristic, but it's really cool. I think that all really works. Also, I love games or just any media where someone wields a sword intentionally when people have guns as if to say like, that's not good enough. You know, like this sword is stronger than any bullet you can fire at me.
Me with this sword. Right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm wielding this sword, you're fucked.
Yes. Yeah. And Ninja Gaiden's very good about like giving you very cool weapons to wield. Like they're all great. The like big staff that you get pretty much immediately is amazing. Yeah. The like the
you're a big staff
nunchucks.
Man.
I love a staff.
You do.
Love a staff in a game.
Keelik.
Love a character. Keelik. That's the staff guy, you know? That like forward punch attack where he like hits left and right just feels like that's it, man. That's the one for me. But also with the like flails that you get. It's essentially nunchucks with like a scythe. I
love the flails.
Yeah, it's very good. They also give you these claws that you put on the ends of your arms very early, which are neat. All in all, I think there's like 8 or 9 weapons in this game that just like they all play so dramatically differently that you have a lot of choice with like how to attack people, but it's also just like there's so much variety here. It's very neat. There's a lot of depth. It's a game that if you were to look at it from the outside and you didn't know what this game was, you might say like this looks kind of simple in a way.
Yeah.
Like you got like a health bar and a couple of numbers on the screen, but other than that, that's really it. You know,
your Ninpo.
Yeah, your Ninpo. But other than that, that's it. And so it you kind of have to dig a little bit, but the minute you pick up the sticks, you're like, oh, I see why this is complicated. There's a lot of depth in the combat.
Yep.
Which is great. I'm really excited that more people are checking the series out because it feels a little bit lost to time, despite the fact like I think people our age will probably, if you say like, have you played a Ninja Gaiden game, they probably say yes. But I don't see it really talked about in the like games canon as much as I would like to.
It's true. Yeah, it deserves.
It does. These are very good games. They're very fun. So anyway, yeah, shouts out to Ryu Hayabusa.
Absolutely.
Very cool guy.
Also
just jacked. So jacked.
He's a jacked ninja. My God.
Are you like a beat 'em up guy in this way? Do you like the sort of like Platinum or Devil May Cry kind of games? I know that you like that most recent Devil May Cry.
I did really like that most recent Devil May Cry. I really enjoyed, of course, Nier Automata. That was Platinum. I haven't played any of the Bayonettas. I played a demo for Bayonetta 3, I think, once, and it was insane. And I think
it's a lot.
That's a game that I think is on my list as well. Of like, if it's ever on sale, I'll probably pick it up at some point. But I don't think I've ever played a Platinum Games game that I didn't really enjoy. And I just like that style of game, like the most recent Devil May Cry. That's just flashy, fun, but has a depth to it that is, it asks you to explore, but isn't necessarily necessary to go too deep into if you don't want to, right? Yeah. I enjoy those games.
Yeah, I feel like it's hit or miss for me sometimes. Like, I need it to have a little bit of depth, because just like straight up shooting dudes and blasting dudes, like it doesn't always work for me. But some of those Devil May Cries hit. I do like Bayonetta, but like truly have not played it in so long that like it might be worth a replay. David, it's currently $6 on Steam for Bayonetta 1.
Whoa, for real?
Yeah, it's on sale.
That might be something I buy, because then I can moonlight it, baby.
Yeah, I know.
Play it on my Metroid. My goodness.
Moonlight has really opened up my eyes to a new era in video games. I should try Bayonetta. I think I like that before I go like blasting off and paying $60 for Bayonetta 3 or whatever.
Start off with the OG. The other ones will go on sale eventually too.
Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, so that's Ninja Gaiden 2. I'm having a good time with it.
Great.
The other game, Arrows, David.
Let's hear it.
Is a game called Arco.
Oh, this was it was nominated for Best Game of the Year for the Indie Game of the Year.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah, for last year. And it was one that I was like, I would like to see what's up because it did like get very well reviewed, but I didn't have time at the end of the year and didn't, but now it's time. Now it's time for me to check it out. So Arco, it is listed on Steam as being developed by essentially, I think, just the people who made it. It's not like a company, who is Frantic, Max Cahill, The Beaky, and Fayer are the name of the developers.
Cool.
And it is self-described as a Mesoamerican fantasy RPG, which immediately I'm
awesome.
Like, oh, okay, let's talk. Yeah, that looks good. I think it's supposed to be like vaguely set in like the Spanish like conquest of kind of southern, middle, and Americas.
Yeah, Central and Southern America, South Central and South America. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and like that's a time period that I have very little understanding of outside of just the very most basic shit. So I think setting wise, that's already something where I'm like, I gotta know more, man. Like, please. And essentially, it is I think it's an RPG, and it looks simple. Like it initially, you pull up on this like little village. I think you start the game off as playing as this guy named Tekko, and it seems like you're living in a village of like nomads. Like they travel a lot. He comments very early on about like, our tents smell like our village. Like we've been here for a while, but we need to like kind of keep moving on. And so you get the sense that these are like a group of people who don't always stay in the same place for very long.
Sure.
And you're kind of just wandering around this little village. It's a 2D game when you're wandering around the hub world or like the overworld, and you can talk to people, you can like observe shit and, hear Tekko's thoughts about something, or, and any number of interactions with the people who live there. And initially you get just like some very basic quests of like, you need to go find something for the offering. There's this like offering that you're about to do for this goddess that your village usually pays some respect to. And yeah, that's like most of the quest is just like find something. And you talk to a couple people are like, hey, could you grab me these like mushrooms like around this cave around the corner essentially? So you leave your village, go up the road. There's like a little overmap that you can kind of choose like hubs to go to. So like a cave is one of them. And so you go up there and like get some shit, and it teaches you the combat system as well, which is like fascinating. It is you like pop over and it's a little bit more detailed. It's like kind of top down at this point. And it's both real time and strategy in a very odd way. Essentially, you will choose where or what you want to do on the map. So it's like you can go a certain distance, you can hit somebody, you can fire an arrow eventually. And then when you hit go, everybody does everything at once. So like all of the characters on the screen will do something. And then once they have finished that, it clicks back into static again. And then you choose like, all right, what are we going to do now? Right. And so one typical move might be like you fire an arrow at an enemy, the enemy moves closer to you and they end their turn. Right. The arrow might not even make it to them by the time your turn's done, but you have fired it, right? And then you can choose, do I want to wait here, which recovers essentially kind of like action points that you can use, or do I move somewhere to try and get out of range of their attack? It's also telling you over their head, like, are they about to move? Or are they going to shoot or attack me or punch me or something?
Okay.
And so all of that's like very interesting. They've made it feel really good too. Because like that sounds a little bit complicated maybe, but they just make it so obvious, like what you can and can't do, how far you can go, what actions you can and can't take at any moment, that it feels very satisfying to like it in, you know, the almost into the breach way of like seeing what everybody's going to do, make your plan, execute. Okay, now pause. Then let's like figure out this puzzle now of, well, this guy's too close to me and his buddy is like reloading right now. Maybe I can just try and punch the guy who's going to attack me because I know that interrupts attacks and that'll buy me a little bit of time to like run away so that when that guy starts shooting, I can run like kind of out of the way of his bullets. The bullets are very slow too. It's like kind of almost bullet helly in the fashion that they move. And so when they shoot, it's like you have a second to be like, am I fast enough to run around them? You know, like, am I going to be quick enough? Which is all really good. I really, really like the battle system. I think it's very cool. Yeah. Anyway, some stuff happens and tragedy strikes in the beginning of the game. Yeah. And it's interesting. I think that they present like both a story that is rooted in a certain amount of history, but it's also definitely fantastical. You know, like the goddess that you are worshiping and shit like that, like seems to be tangible in a very real way. You know, you go to this like gigantic tree that people put their offerings at, and it's like, this is a very clearly mythical and magical place that like I find very fun. And I think that's just because like we've been playing games based on Arthurian legend for so fucking long that like even a little bit of like different influences as far as like where the magic and mysticism comes from in the source material that is informing a game's story is immediately compelling, because I'm just like, I haven't seen that before. I haven't seen this brand of story or myth before. And so it's really cool. The game eventually takes place from the perspective of 4 different characters. So you're playing through these kind of like vignettes, and they're all orbiting around this company called the Red Company. And part of the intrigue is like, why are they doing the things that they're doing? You know, like what is the thing that is happening with this company? And I just find it really cool. I think it's all really good. It's very well told. Like the story is very compelling. This is one of the coolest things to me about this game is that it's more complicated than it looks. Like there are a lot of things being tracked underneath the hood than I thought, or like you're making decisions sometimes when you might not think that you are. Like the decision to choose to talk to somebody or observe something is important, right? And I think that the influence that you see there is that there is this thing called like a guilt meter in this game, where if you do bad shit, or even if you like talk to too many people and you like form a connection with them and then see them die, you have this certain amount of guilt that you start feeling. And the way that influences the game is that in the combat, when everything stops, sometimes there will be these little ghosts that appear. And in the planning phase, meaning when you're thinking about what to do and everything is paused, the ghosts are moving and they're moving closer to you. And so it takes what normally would be just a straight up tactics game into like, oh shit, there's ghosts here and they're preying upon my guilt. Oh man. And I need to like, it almost turns into a more active game because like you have to keep moving around or else you will get caught, right?
That's cool.
Which again is neat mechanically and narratively, because suddenly you're thinking like somebody with a lot of guilt might think of like, I got to keep moving. Like I don't want to stand around for long enough to feel this. And so I just need to keep going. And I just think that's so fucking cool. That's such a neat mechanic to put in this game. And so it forces you to think about these decisions that you're making in the game, because it's like, could this lead to something that's going to hurt me? You know, do I want to try and risk this situation that might lead to something where I feel bad about it? Yeah. Essentially trying to avoid demons that will follow you around for the rest of the play. It's really cool. I think it's like a very novel approach. Not to mention like there's, you know, your character is leveling up and there's like a very neat skill tree that you're offered throughout the game. And so like the way that you engage in battle it can be changed very easily based on like, do I want this ability that lets me slap so that I can interrupt people? Or do I want something that focuses more on like the arrows that I'm shooting?
But how can he slap?
But yeah, I like, again, it is a game that on the face of it, you would kind of similar to Ninja Gaiden, weirdly, on the face of it, you would think like, maybe this isn't the most complicated game, but it's hiding hiding a lot under the surface, which I find really, really cool. So yeah, like again, just the point being, I've watched other people's kind of playthrough of the early game, and I'm like, hey, I didn't see that, or that's a very different outcome to the thing that I experienced, which I like. I love when a game does that and it doesn't tell you, you know, you just kind of have to like experience it.
Yeah, gives you a lot of different ways to interact and make your own story.
Yeah, it's player choice without it feeling like, do I want to do the Renegade or the Paragon options? You know, like just you're supposed to inhabit this person like characteristically, and like how do you do that?
Do I choose the red dialogue bubble or the blue dialogue bubble?
Exactly. God. So yeah, that's Arco. I really would love for this game to get some more attention, because I read the developers were like, this didn't sell great, and maybe we should just make games that people are gonna like a lot more rather than ones that we're super interested in, which I found like kind of demoralizing in a way. And like, it's an incredible game, and I hope that some of the coverage it got late last year boosted some of the sales a little bit, because it's totally worth talking about and worth playing. I think it's a really cool game that more people should be checking out.
You made me want to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think you should. There's also a very generous demo on Steam. It's very lengthy, so like if you're interested, like
gonna play it
at
on
least
Moonlight,
try the demo.
baby.
You can. That's what I've been doing.
Steam. My gosh.
Steam and Moonlight, a match made in heaven. David, this will all bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week.
Which is?
It's the Humble Ninja, David.
The Humble Ninja. Love it.
Not to be like so 2011 about this right now with like, dude, are you fucking zombies or ninjas? Like, not, I don't need that. But
I
like,
think it was pirates or ninjas.
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Please.
But I love a good depiction of a ninja, man. That shit rocks. Obviously, Ninja Gaiden. Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima, cool ninja.
Good ninja.
Wolf in Sekiro, good ninja.
Great ninja.
Fucking, you got Scorpion, Sub-Zero, great ninjas.
Great ninja.
The turtles themselves, the Teenage Mutant ones.
Good ninjas.
Good ninjas. It's just very cool. I love it when a game can like mechanically make you feel cool like that. You know, of course it's about as interesting as saying like, isn't a cowboy neat? But
yes. That Arthur Morgan, wasn't he cool?
Come on, Dutch. We got to throw the ninja stars.
That is how he
Do
sounds.
a wall run, Dutch.
Oh my God. Dutch would pull a lumbago if he try to do a wall run.
Yeah, no, his legs would fall
Those
off.
men are not healthy. Not a single one of them.
No, strong, but not healthy.
Strong, but not healthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to wield this dragon sword, Dutch? Legendary warriors do it, but I can't. I'm not good enough. I'm a bad guy, Dutch.
I'm a bad guy doing bad things, Dutch. Dutch, I found my morality. What do I do with the dragon sword now, Dutch?
I gotta choose the Paragon route now, Dutch. I can't do Renegade no more.
Tragic. Yeah, love a ninja. Ninjas are cool.
Yeah, ninja's cool.
Ninjas are samurais, Chase.
I mean, I like playing a samurai, I think, more. If we're talking about game archetypes.
Sure.
I think like sword fighting done well is very fun.
Yeah. Stroll or Heismei?
Stroll or Heismei? I think Stroll. I think it's Stroll for me.
The samurai.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think so.
Okay. I think I agree. But ninjas are real cool too.
Yeah, this feels so 2011, this conversation right now.
RAR XD.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to go post about this on Tumblr later. Do you have something fueling your sense of optimism?
I just took this test on Facebook. This tells you if you're a ninja or a
If
samurai.
you're a ninja or a samurai. Oh
I got
my God.
samurai, obviously. Oh, it's painful. Oh man,
it's
what
bad.
a world. Yeah, my Podtimistic thing of the week. Doom, baby, it's back.
Doom.
I am stoked for Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah, why not? I feel like I haven't paid so much attention to it because like I'm pretty bought in to the new Dooms at this point that I'm like, if you put another one out, I will play it, you know?
I just, when they had the shield with the chainsaw edges, I was like, okay, you got me. I will play that game for that shield specifically.
I am interested in kind of their decision making around what to do with this game because
I did enjoy them like talking about what they think of their game loop for each one. Like Run and Gun was Doom 2016. What was it for Doom Eternal was like jump and shoot, and now it's like stand and fight or something like that.
Sure,
like trying to be very tanky with it in this one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm interested in what they're doing there because I liked Eternal a lot, and I think like complexity wise, it was a very interesting game. Like they built upon 2016 in a way that I was like, this is cool. Like I am having a good time.
Yeah.
But I think for my money, I do prefer the 2016 route. It was just a little bit simpler in a way that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see where they go with this one, to see if it's like more or less complex than Doom Eternal. But again, I'm in, like neither of those games have been bad at all. I find them really, really fun.
No, I think I agree with you. I did enjoy 2016, I think just a skosh more, just because it was just such a breath of fresh air in the shooter genre at the time.
Totally,
of just like, here is a modern interpretation of just like the fast-paced action of Doom, right? You're not trying to hide and get your health to regenerate anymore. You are encouraged to fight and run and shoot. And I was like, this is great. And Doom Eternal was also great, but like you said, got a little bit more complex with how you could attack situations, and was very challenging at the end. Was a very challenging game, but in a fun way. But yeah, I agree. 2016 was more my cup of tea as well.
Yeah. It does seem like they're focusing a little bit with like a parrying mechanic in Dark Ages, which I think that's probably very cool. I think that will also allow them to handle the like big enemies a little bit more interestingly, because then you can kind of focus on like what are the attacks that are like parryable versus the ones you kind of just have to go around.
Yeah, instead of just running away.
Which is cool. And like the tone of it I find very fun. Just the Dark Ages Doom game.
And I like a good prequel.
Yeah. I did see some big mech battles happening in this one too.
Yeah, you can beat the mech.
That
mech
looks
thing
good.
Now. Looks cool.
That looks cool.
Looks cool.
Yeah, I'm interested. Again, like I'm a Doom freak. I played every single one of these fucking games, and I like regularly will play through the original Doom just for fun.
Yeah.
So like I'm the target demo, I think, but still, it does look good. It does look good outside of me being a Doom freak.
Is the Doom Eternal DLC worth it?
I had a good time with it. I thought it was cool. I think they present a different kind of it's not a different kind of game, but there's different stuff in it than the base game. And so it is like, it's not just like, here's more of it. There's like a little bit more like platforming challenges, which I found fun.
Sure.
And just for the lore, it's pretty cool too. Like Eternal went a little hard on the lore, and I kind of appreciated that. So I would play it if you get the chance, like, especially if it's like on sale or something.
Okay. Check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really appreciate the amount of enemies on screen that they've got in the Dark Ages too. Like a lot of fodder, which I think is very, very cool. Do you want to move on to our main thing, David?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Hey, it's Good Games. It's a segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them. We got suggested to play a game called 7 Samurai 20XX.
Yeah, we sure did.
This was suggested to us by Soisoisoisoisoi. And on the comment of the game, it looks like they've done some sort of emoticon of a character, either doing like the devil horns or a crab with their pincers like this.
Oh.
So deep analysis from Soisoisoisoisoi. Which I will play that sound clip to make sure we're at all in understanding
page
of what the reference is. Yeah.
I feel like either one of those emoji interpretations makes sense.
It works. Yeah. It feels appropriate for this game.
Yeah.
Had you heard of this at all?
No, never.
Me neither. It feels like a game that I would have heard of, to be honest. Like,
everything I was surprised I had missed this one.
Yes. Yeah. It's odd. I just don't know. Like, maybe it didn't get a very wide release or something like that, but it feels like surely a hack and slash game about samurai with like interesting design would have made it onto my plate, but it sure didn't.
Right.
Hey, fuck it. Let's do hot stats, David. Let's talk about this game.
Let's hear them.
Hot stats.
All right. So 7 Samurai 20XX came out January 8th of 2004 for the PlayStation 2. This was made by a company called Dimps, who made Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
Boy, you dimping. They made Budokai?
They made Budokai. Yeah, that was a bit of a heater.
Wow.
They also made Freedom Wars for the Vita, which I think just got a re-release on the Switch.
Whoa.
And of course, David, the PSP hit Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh, the tie-in to the movie?
The tie-in to the movie.
Oh, no.
I read on that Wikipedia page that it was nominated for the worst PSP game. Just hands down, period, full Double Stop, the worst one.
Because of its association with the Dragon Ball Evolution movie, or just because it's legitimately also a bad game?
I think both, but like because it is also a bad game.
God, that movie, my goodness.
It's hard. I very rarely feel that kind of disappointment. You know, like if something comes out and it's bad, it's, I don't know, even for something that I love, it's like, well, you know, oh well, like it's bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it sucks, but not enough to really wound me. Yeah. You know, like the Final Fantasy Rebirth last year being kind of like okay from everything I understood. I'm like, well, that's a bummer, but like, okay, that's fine. You know, like, hey, we still have Final Fantasy 7. So like, if you want that, it's still there. But there was something special about Dragon Ball Evolution being that bad.
It was offensively bad.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it was again, offensive
a
to
feeling
fans.
that I don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Right.
The phrase "a slap in the face to the fans" I feel like is so rarely appropriate. You know, like Mario's mustache is 2 millimeters bigger than it usually is. It's like typically when you hear about something being a slap in the face to the fans. But that was a bad movie. And in like so many ways. Yeah. You know? Yeah. It wasn't just like, oh, the source material's a little weird, which it was. They did not do it very well. But also the movie was kind of terrible. Anyway, Dimps also, sorry, no, that was the end of that list. David, I do have a review of 7 Samurai 20XX from an outlet called Video Games, which is not Joe Video. It's somebody else. I took their review and ran it through Google Translate a number of times, arriving out back out in English to mangle it up and get an artist's interpretation, which I'm going to read for you now. 20XX went for something a little more offensive, and despite its flaws, it wasn't a bad game. This conflict has not affected the world in any way, and there is no clear explanation as to why. 20XX is a cheap game that provides momentary excitement, but those looking for a deep and engaging experience should look to me. And they give that a 4 out of 10, David. Not a big fan, and I will say that level of review is pretty in line with what people thought about this one. Like Edge gave it a 2 out of 10, which I'm like, okay, let's relax a little bit. Like I feel like 2 should be reserved for like this barely turned on, you know? The Sydney Morning Herald gave it 1 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
Mercifully, Playboy gave it a 63 out of 100 though. It was very nice of them.
I didn't know Playboy reviewed games.
I don't think I did either.
Makes sense, but I had no idea.
Not particularly known for their game takes, but power to them, you know? But yeah, pretty surprising, I will say, the reviews. Yeah. And I like, again, we don't say this super often, but I feel like I'm usually, or we're usually judging these games based on their merit rather than like, was this worth the money? And I think the was it worth the money thing really gets muddled when a game is a 6 out of 10 or so. Because like, we'll get into it in a second, but the game is very shallow as far as like what you're doing. It's cool, but it is very shallow. And so like, would I spend $50 on this? Like is a question that like somebody else can answer. I don't want to answer it, but I liked it. It's just like I know the financial question kind of gets in the way of it because like we're so far away at this point that like, I don't have to think about spending $50 on this.
Sure don't.
And I can just play it. You know, I can just swing the swords, which for my money was good. That's fun. What is this game, David? What is 7 Samurai 20XX?
7 Samurai 20XX is a third person hack and slash adventure game where you are a samurai and you go around a futuristic Japan beating up and slicing up robots. I don't know if this is true, but is it supposed to be like the story of 7 Samurai?
It is, yeah. It's like it's not exactly based on it, but like some of the story and concept are sort of based on the Kurosawa movie 7 Samurai. Yeah.
So the game largely consists of you go through a hallway, end up in a larger square area, you fight a bunch of enemies. Once they die, the main character goes, that was easy. And then you go on to the next hallway and area and fight more enemies. And that's pretty much the game.
Yeah, it is.
There's bosses in there too. There's boss.
Yeah, there's bosses sometimes, yeah.
Marginally harder enemies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I for a moment I didn't understand the game, like for a brief second, because I was like, it seems pretty hard to hit people because you really do need to get like right up on them for it to work. But pretty quickly realized that like there is this move that you can do where you like unleash two swords. You're fighting with two swords if you hit L1 and R1.
Mm-hmm.
And a game wants you to be doing that all the time. Like you should just always be doing that.
Yeah.
Because like a little timer goes off and then, once it's done, you put your sword away and just use the one again. But if you do even like one parry in the game, it immediately refills and is just like, go ahead, do it again. Like it takes no time.
Two swords, let's go.
Yes. Yeah. So the like hack and slash beat 'em up of it all is very present.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Like when you do get the two swords, I'm like, this is fucking good shit. This is a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about it? How'd you feel about this one?
I thought it was very shallow, but when it did well, it did well. It was fun to plow through enemies and be kind of like a little demigod just destroying your enemies, right?
Mm-hmm.
That part was fun. The flashy jumping and striking effects were good.
Yeah.
The story was bizarre and I'd say bizarrely engaging. Like I just I didn't know what was going on at all, but things were just like so strange that I wanted to know what was going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting way to get someone invested in a story, is just to make it very weird and kind of incomprehensible of what exactly is happening.
I think that's part of the game's draw, is that because it's so heavily drawing from Seven Samurai that
just
like,
drops you right in.
Yeah, it drops you right in, and also it like begs the question of like how are we going to relate to that story?
Mm-hmm.
And like the futuristic Tokyo of it all. Like I do find that an interesting interpretation of like where to set Seven Samurai, because it is like very far future,
Yeah.
It's very like futuristic shit. And again, like I see so many other games in this, and I think I just forget how popular this genre was at the time. But like this is so close to like Nier in so many ways, like fighting androids and shit, just like slashing through them. I would say not nearly as good of a game, but still, like it's not that far away.
Mm-hmm. This is a progenitor of sorts, you could say, for a Nier Automata.
Yeah, although when Drakengard came out, that may have been around the same time.
Absolutely. And I play this game and I'm enjoying it, enjoying the hack and slash of it all. And then I think to myself, PS2, Xbox was around at that same time, which means Ninja Gaiden also released around the same time as this game.
True.
And that is like comparing apples to oranges between
these two games. It's a remarkably different game, visually, complex-wise.
Visually, complexity, fluidity, it is on another level. And I think that to me was another reminder of like just how good and of a splash Ninja Gaiden was when it came out. Like, look at how good it can feel to do a 3D action slashing game.
Those two games came out the exact same year. They're both 2004 releases.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Isn't
incredible.
That remarkable? That's crazy.
Those low scores then make a little bit more sense.
I get it.
Just like if that's the game that you are competing with that year for people's money and attention, it's like absolutely not.
Yeah, like if I was going to recommend one of them, I think the choice is kind of obvious. But like, again, I don't think that makes this game bad. It just makes it worse in comparison.
Yeah, it's a rough matchup to pull for this game.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, like the stuff that was compelling to me about this one was just the story of it all is very cool, and the setting and tone is all neat. Yeah, the combat's, it's as pretty much as shallow as you can see, right? But it's fun. It's fun in the same way that Dynasty Warriors was fun on the PlayStation 2.
I was about to say, it feels very Musou-y.
For sure. Yeah, like there are a lot of enemies on screen. You are just kind of supposed to like wail on them and not really take a lot of damage. Like it's very possible for you to just like simply not be beat,
Yeah. For a bit there, I just smashed all the face buttons at the same time to see if it worked. Worked great.
Yeah.
And honestly, it wasn't unenjoyable. I did a lot of cool things that I didn't know how to do otherwise. And I was like, sweet, this looks great.
Yeah. I read that the French artist, or, like comic artist, legendary artist, Mobius contributed to character designs in this game.
Really?
Yes. Which is
I was about to say
wild.
The characters were cool, actually.
The characters are very cool, which like it makes sense if you kind of know how wild of a pull that is. But I like the character designs themselves were very, very neat. I really liked that stuff.
I like the protagonist's scarf. The scarf was looking good in the game.
Yeah. What was the other game that was Ninja-y on PS2 that had a big red scarf? Shinobi? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
That sounds very familiar. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, kind of a similar vibe. Honestly, those games are pretty similar to this one too. The kind of 3D.
I played that one. Yeah, it's Shinobi.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time with it. I would suspect probably a little bit better reviewed than this one, but even still. It is very interesting to see the lineage of these games because like this level of game I don't find very often anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I think you would have to look at like indie games for this kind of game now, you know? I don't know that there's like a big company willing to like try this anymore, which is sort of a shame in a way. Like, again, I feel like we say this constantly, but like, it's a shame that we're in the situation that we're in with the industry right now, that like huge, gigantic games are the only bet that companies are willing to make.
Yeah. Big companies.
That's true. But, you know, like, why not put out a little dumpy Seven Samurai game? Like, I would like that. Try it
around the world. See who likes it.
Yeah. Again, just like going to show that I think indie games are kind of where it is right now, like where the super interesting creativity stuff is happening. Cause like this game it's interesting for sure. I wouldn't say it's successful in all the stuff that it's doing, but there's stuff in here that I like to experience. And I feel like the era of like making a game around an idea and like an experiment is not present in AAA games. It's largely just on Steam of somebody being like, does this work? Is this a thing that people will play?
Yeah. This game is definitely not thinking about the shareholders.
No. And good on them, you know? Like, I would love for us to think of the share.
Really? Yeah.
No, I would love to think of the shareholders a lot less than we do.
Yes, absolutely.
Because like I just find that stuff on in the indie scene like very cool and very fun. I wish more of that was happening, at least for like games that are getting invested in. I wish people would experiment because that's how you get the cool shit. That's how like somebody stumbles onto something amazing when they're like, all right, we don't have time to like necessarily make a gigantic, compelling story and the most beautiful graphics you've ever seen, but we got like a couple mil to like make an okay game, you know, like let's see what you can do. Cause like probably most of those will be okay and some of them will do all right, but every now and then you'll hit on something just amazing. It's like, okay, shit, we can do this for a long time, or like this is something that we can invest in and make another version of these games.
This is the new type of game. This is the new Strand game.
Man, I would love to see Death Stranding on PlayStation 2, like what that looks like.
Whoa, a demake?
Either a demake or just like what is the minimum viable product for Death Stranding? Like what is the shit that you must have in that game?
That's a good question.
I would love to play it.
A lot of ladders.
Yeah, ladders. Let it like you have to have
PS2 can
traversal.
do ladders. MGS3 had a good ladder.
That is true.
You can do ladders on the PlayStation.
But like traversal is so important, and I wonder if the PlayStation 2 was like smart enough to do like very uneven ground,
right?
You know?
Yeah. Maybe you wouldn't have as good of a draw distance.
Oh yeah, for sure. You would need to like have like levels in there, you know?
Like a 5-foot radius field of view.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Let's just add fog. Just add fog, baby. When all else fails, add fog.
It's Silent Hill now. I feel like this game and this kind of game is kind of catnip for me. So like, I'm not surprised that I'm kind of warm on this. I like the kind of bad PlayStation 2 era game is just, that's the shit I like.
It goes hard for you.
It goes hard. Like, again, this is not a game I'm going to spend 6 hours in. You know, I'm not going to do that. But like a half an hour to an hour, chef's kiss. Love that.
Yeah. And you're just like, and that's enough.
And that's a perfect amount for me. Yeah. Again, I wish that game preservation was a little bit better so that like everybody could just like do that whenever they wanted to. Cause like, I don't think they're making a ton of residuals on the sales of Seven Samurai 20XX these days. So like, why not just put that on the internet or something?
Yeah. Put it out there. Make it a mobile game or something.
Yeah.
Put some microtransactions in there. Think of the shareholders for once. Come on.
I would just love to pay for a battle pass for Seven Samurai 20XX.
I mean,
let me get some skins for God's sakes.
Nothing makes people go more wild than when they hear the term battle pass.
Yeah, I want to pay $12 a month to get some more skins.
When did the term battle pass become a thing? What was the first battle pass?
The first time I encountered it was in Dota in like probably like 2013, somewhere around there.
Sure.
That felt early, but I don't know if that was the first one per se. Of course, like your Fortnite's popularized it for sure, but I feel like I remember seeing it in the MOBA scene prior to it being like the thing.
Gotcha.
Which
makes sense that it comes from Blizzard, Battle Pass, Battle.net. So
Steam, in fact, was Dota. Yeah.
Oh, well, don't listen to me then.
Don't listen to me. Listen to what's Steam man's name?
Gabe
Newell. He left me just now. Like I tried to conjure his name game and it was simply not there.
And when I needed him most, he vanished.
Gabe vanished, yeah.
Along with Half-Life 3.
Yeah, do you think we're ever getting that? Do you think that's ever going to come out?
I really don't.
I don't think so
It's
either.
been 20 years?
Yeah.
I think Half-Life 2 came out in 2004, didn't it?
Yeah, it's been a very long time. Yeah.
Like there's I think they even said like they're not working on it.
Yeah, it's I bet that there have been a couple of attempts at it. Like I bet they've tried multiple times to be like, let's see if this is it, and it probably didn't work.
Hey, Gabe's a billionaire, so what does he care?
Yeah, I feel like we don't need it. I feel like we don't need Half-Life. You know?
Do we need any of these games? No, but we want them.
I need Dynasty Warriors Origins.
You
David.
need it. You need it
need
directly into your veins.
Yeah, I need to hang out with Cao Cao. That's not true. I committed myself to Liu Bei as far as which of the 3 kingdoms I've attached to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one coming.
Cao Cao was too ambitious. He was just like solely focused on conquering the country, and like maybe he's a good guy, but like he's way too in his own shit.
What drew you to Liu Bei?
He seems a little bit more moral. Like he's got some ethics on his side. Plus, like Guan Yu's there, and I love Guan Yu. He seems like the people's king. If we're comparing it to Three Houses, he feels like the golden deer the most to me.
Okay.
Whereas Cao Cao feels like the blue lions, and I think Sun Jian is the black eagles. I think.
Okay.
I think that feels right.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Compare it to American politics now.
Yeah. Okay. Which dumpster fire should I compare Cao to? There's only 2, which is inherently the problem.
Yeah.
Neither of them in this game are small enough to be the Green Party, you know?
But we have the lizard people too. That's a third faction that no one talks about.
Yeah. Well, David, that's me. I am a lizard person.
Wow. Coming out from underneath the rock, huh?
I'm here to do the bidding of the lizard. You played Soul Calibur?
I have.
Lizard Man. That's me.
Lizard. First name Lizard, last name Man.
Last name Man.
That's
yeah,
me.
Lizard Man.
It says it on my Lizard ID.
On my Lizard license.
My Lizard license. Oh, you can find my profile on Lizard Book.
The license gives me the rights to go out on a rock and absorb energy from the sun.
Any rock in the sun is for me.
Yeah. If anybody else tries to get in there, it's illegal sun tanning, I guess. I don't know.
There you go. Don't want that on your record. What?
No. Sometimes I'd love to be a lizard. That'd be kind of nice.
Join Zuck.
I think Zuck is just a weird guy. I'm backing out on the lizard. It gives him an out.
Sure. No, I hear that. No outs for you, human.
No, he's just shitty.
Yeah.
I would, and like, power to you if you're a lizard. I think that'd be cool. Let's figure out a way to live in harmony.
With the lizards or with each other?
I mean, both. Yeah. But with the lizards specifically. Isn't it crazy that when you attack them, they just drop their fucking tail off? They can just say, fuck it. I'm out with this.
This is dead weight. You killed me. Here it is. I'm out of here. And they move, they like writhe on the ground and everything. Ugh.
It's horrible. Yeah. It's so gross.
Yeah. Well, we'll take Bruce outside supervised and he will hunt lizards. And he'll just walk up to you with one of their wiggly little tails in his mouth. It's disgusting.
Ugh. So nuts. Like that feels like a superpower to me.
Drop a tail?
Drop a tail.
Just like drop your arm. It's like, you startled me. Sorry.
You're just in a bad position. Like this one's done. I'm totally done with this arm now.
And I'm chilling. It's growing back. It's fine. Got my little nub.
Yeah. Thank you, Soisoisoisoisoi, for suggesting 7 Samurai 20XX. Fun game that I did not know about.
Yeah, it was a fun little romp.
Yeah, I had a great time.
If you want to interact with the podcast more, you can go to podtimism.com where you can search old episodes, search specific games that we have talked about in the past. You can look at the podcast thumbnail art that Chase has made for each of our podcasts, and you can suggest a game for us to talk about in the future. So yeah, head on over there and see what's good. See what's good. There's also a link on there to the Worst Garbage Podcast Network Discord channel. We have a little spot there, and then there is also a bunch of other cool podcasts that are part of the network, such as .zip, Frog of the Week, Girl Mode, Into the Aether, Paws and Claws, and Can't Let It Go. Did I say Can't Let It Go? No, I didn't. And Can't Let It Go. So yeah, head on over. It's cool. It's fun. It's good for you.
It's good for you.
It's good for you. Thank you, Scout Wilkinson, for our podcast art. It's great. We love it. If you want to check out if her commissions are open, you go to co-fi.com/humblegoat. If you want to spread the good word of Podtimism and tell a friend, drop a review.
Yeah, why not?
Like it. Follow it on your podcatcher of choice. It's good for you. Also, everything's good for for you now. That's not true. Some things are still very much bad for you, but everything Podtimism related, good for you. And thank you, dear listener, for being here. We'll be doing this even if nobody was listening. So it's cool that people do. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Chase, do you have any video game wisdom for this week?
Yeah, happy Thwurmsday.
Happy Thwurmsday.
Happy Thwurmsday.
We are doing this on a Thwurmsday, which is not our typical day, but it's a good day still.
Yeah, no, it's a fun one. I feel like typically whenever we do the like Monday to Wednesday, like we did, I think last week, or did we do Wednesday last week too?
It might have been Wednesday still.
I don't know. Thwurmsday's got me all fucked up. It's got my brain on different wavelengths.
Thwurmsday is every day, baby.
It's thirsty Thwurmsday for me.
Squirnsty Thwurmsday.
Ooh, Squirmsty is frightening. I'm a little bit worried about Squirmsty Thursday, David.
It's not Squirnsty, it's Squirnsd.
Please, Squirmsy was my dad.
Yeah, please.
You can call me Squirmsdy.
Thwurmsday. Squirnsty Thwurmsday. There we go.
We must stop. There's nothing else.
We've milked this joke pretty dry at this point, I think.
We've milked Thwurmsday for as much as it's got.
Thwurmsday is looking more like a Mall's Day, if you know what I mean, right?
See you next week.
See ya.
Goodbye.
TWG, the worst garbage, online.